All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to New Start's immigration live stream. My name is Jack, who is a registered migration agent and also a lawyer admitted in Supreme Court of New South Wales. I have been specializing in immigration law for more than 7 years, and in today's live stream, I will be discussing the topic of 491 with my colleague Daewin. And Daewin, please briefly introduce yourself.
So I'm Daewin, lawyer for New Stars Education and Migration Group, and we'll be discussing about the 491 New South Wales visa.
Alright, let's get started. So our main topic today is the Australia Skilled Work Regional Visa, Subclass 491. The visa was announced back in November 2019, so almost like 4 years have been passed. Today's content will cover 4 aspects. First, we'll introduce some basic information and the requirement of the 491 visa, and then I will discuss some advantages and the disadvantages of the visa. And the third is that I will introduce the state nomination requirement for the New South Wales, and Daewin will also share some information for the recent invitation rounds. And finally, if we still have time, we'll answer some questions from the chat box. Alright, the first part, the basic requirement of the 491 visa. Then would you like to give some general information?
Sure. So thanks, Jack. Before we get into our discussion, let's have a look at the basic requirements for the 491 visa generally. So first of all, it's still a provisional visa and not a permanent visa, and it lasts for 5 years. So after the visa is granted, if you live and work in regional areas and meet the salary threshold for three consecutive years, you may be eligible to apply for the permanent visa, which is the subclass 191. The current annual salary threshold is $53,900, and you can use your tax return, pay slips or bank statements to provide as evidence.
All right, just a second. You mentioned that the annual threshold is 53,900. So when the 491 visa is granted, as the 491 visa holders, do they need to work in their nominated occupations?
That's a good question. Not at all. You don't have to be working in the nominated occupation. You can work in any other occupation as long as your annual salary meets the threshold of $53,900 annually.
Okay. Actually, self-employed also is counted.
Oh, okay.
As long as the salary meets the requirement.
So if they have an ABN and they have an annual income of $53,900.
But it's a taxable income. Taxable income. Yeah.
Okay.
Right. So thanks. Please proceed.
Yeah. So, and to be eligible to apply for the 491 visa, you need to be invited by a state or territory. You have to be less than 45 years of age at the time of invitation. You also have to have a suitable skills assessment and have claimed at least 65 points in your EOI. And you also need to have a competent level of English. And also, finally, you need to meet the health and character requirements. Another thing to note is with the regional area requirement, so what it is apart from Sydney, Melbourne and Brisbane, if you live in any or all other areas, you will be counted as a regional area. So this gives you a lot of flexibility when it comes to choosing your residential address.
Oh yes. By the way, also in terms of the regional area, so actually, you don't need to live and work in the nominating regional area. For example, if the nominating regional area is Southern England,
right.
But after the 491 visa is granted, actually you can live and work in any regional area of New South Wales.
Yeah, so it's not limited to the postcode that you put in your EOI?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, right. So now Jack will introduce the advantages and disadvantages of 491 visa compared with the other types of skilled visas.
Thank you. So now we'll discuss the difference between the 491 visa and the other skilled visas. We know that there are commonly 3 kinds of skilled visas, namely the 189, the 190, and the 491 visas. The first key difference is that the 189 and the 190 visas are permanent visa already. But the 491 visa is still a provisional visa, which means a temporary visa, but it has a pathway leading to a permanent visa. Second, for the 189 independent visa, the candidates were selected directly by the Commonwealth, while the 190 and 491 visas were selected by the states or territories, which means that the Commonwealth has authorized the states and territories to make their own policy of their own state nomination requirement. And for selecting candidates they think they need the most. The third essential difference is that the occupations. The occupations for the 189 visas are much fewer than the 190 and 491. Only occupations on the long-term, medium long-term list are eligible for the 189 visa, but while the short-term list, the occupation on the short-term list are open to the 190 and 491 visa. In addition, even the occupations are on the regional occupation list, it is still okay for the 491 visa. So the key advantage is that the occupations for the 491 visa is much more than the 189 and 491. That's the third advantage. The fourth advantage is in terms of the points. So basically, the threshold points for all these three skilled visas are the same, which are 65 points. But there are 15 points automatically granted if you are invited to apply for the 491 visa, which means that you need to only obtain 50 points on your own. This is extremely important for candidates who have like fewer age points. For example, they have above 33, or candidates who can only achieve competent English, which is 6-inch band of IELTS test or PT equivalent. Another thing is that for the occupation, for example, the marketing specialist, it's on the short-term list, so the applicant can only apply for the 190 and the 491 visa in that regard.
Okay.
All right. Let's move on. Daniel will tell us about the state nomination of New South Wales. We will only talk the New South Wales requirement for this live stream, but for other state nomination requirements, you can contact us for further consultation.
Okay. So thanks, Jack. So for the 491 in New South Wales, there are two ways of being state nominated. There's Pathway 1, which is where you actively lodge the EOI and state nomination application together and wait for a decision by the state. Pathway 2 is selection-based, which means you can wait for the invitation from New South Wales after your EOI is lodged. For New South Wales, the Pathway 1 is the application-based, or what you would call the proactive pathway, which offers two streams. Under Stream A, when you lodge the EOI and state nomination application together, you must be currently living and working in a designated regional area of New South Wales and have continuously done so for the past 12 months. Your qualifying skilled employment must be in your nominated or closely related occupation and with the same regional New South Wales based employer, and be deemed skilled by the New South Wales, being paid a minimum salary of $53,900 from your employer.
Yeah, just hold a second there. So I want to explain the two terms here. One is the closely related occupation. Another one is the deemed skilled work experience.
Right.
So what's the definition of closely related occupation? For example, if you are currently working as a taxi agent accountant, but you're going to apply for the 491 nomination as a general accountant, that would be okay. So the principle behind that is that as long as the occupations share the first 4 digits in the ANSC group, then they will be considered as closely related occupations.
Okay.
The first thing. The second thing is that what does the deemed skilled work experience mean? It means that New South Wales will only recognize the work experience which has been deemed or deducted by the relevant skill assessment authority. For example, the occupation as the marketing specialist again, it's a VTSS occupation, so the relevant authority is VTSS. So the requirement for getting a positive skill assessment for in vertices,
Yeah.
it requires you to have at least 1 year post-qualification experience in the nominated occupation. So New South Wales will deduct that 1 year experience, which means that you can't claim the points for the 1 year experience in your EOI. Otherwise, you will overclaim your points, and your nomination application will be declined.
Okay.
So just bear that in mind. Okay.
All right. So under Stream B, we're still talking about Pathway 1, New South Wales 491. So under Stream B of Pathway 1, when you lodge the EOI and state nomination application together, you must be skilled in a occupation that's on the Stream B skills list. And you must be currently living in New South Wales for at least 3 months, or otherwise be offshore. So again, the New South Wales 491 Pathway 2 is a selection-based, or in other words, you have to wait for the state to send you an invitation. The occupation nominated in your EOI must be on the Pathway 2 skills list, and you are currently living in New South Wales for at least 3 months. The EOI in Skill Select must also be for the 491 New South Wales only. So you can't select any other state or any other skilled visa for that matter. And Pathway 2 is not really talked about as much because the invitation rounds are ongoing throughout the financial year. There are no set dates and rounds are not announced beforehand. So with Pathway 2, New South Wales doesn't really guarantee that you will be invited, even if you do meet the minimum nomination requirements. But when you have been invited under the Pathway 2 in New South Wales, you will have 14 days to lodge the nomination and provide all the supporting documents.
Yeah, in terms of the policy, Pathway 1 is much a secure way for the candidates to get the invitation, because you just need to meet all the requirements which has been prescribed by the New South Wales, and you make the application actively, and you make the application fees. So someone will assess your application for sure, and they will give you a result. All right. But for Stream B, you will be only invited when you are selected, which is an unsecured way. And from our previous recent invitation records, as long as you meet the minimum requirement for Pathway 1 and you lodge the application
with the payment.
With the payment, you will be invited. Your nomination will be approved. All right.
So because we have some time, let's take a look at some of the occupations and EOI points from the last invitation round that we received for the 491 New South Wales invitations for our onshore applicants. So for the cook occupation, we received a 491 New South Wales invitation with just 55 points plus 15. For civil engineer, we received an invitation with just 60 points plus 15. And for the chef occupation,
chef 16.5 plus 15. As the 15 points are automatically granted, that's why we separate these 2 points. So another one is the pharmacy technician, which is only 50 points plus 15 state nomination points.
And so we also had a lot of invitations for our offshore applicants. The offshore applicants who received invitations in these occupations had these points. So if they...
The financial investment manager?
So, the financial investment manager, they received an invitation from offshore with just 50 points and plus the 15 for 491 nomination. The property manager occupation also received an invitation with just 60 points plus the 15 for the 491 nomination.
This one is also very popular. Motor mechanic.
Right.
Only 50 points plus 15. Okay, got it. And the offshore, the candidates are offshore. Let me see. Is there any other interesting? Mechanical engineer, also 50 plus 15 points. And quality assurance 50 plus 15. Okay. So if you are seeking invitation record speakers, you can contact us. All right.
Okay.
Okay.
So, since we can't read out the whole list today, we'll move on to the questions that we received in our live stream. So, we'll go with the first question from the top. So, Jack, what is or when is the next invitation round?
We can't tell you that because invitation rounds occur frequently throughout the financial year with no guaranteed date. I mean, no set date. So we can't advise the date of upcoming invitation rounds.
Okay. All right.
The next question here. Am I eligible for New Server nomination if I reside offshore? Diane, could you please answer that?
So if you're offshore, you are eligible for all the eligible occupations. However, you must be currently living offshore, and you have to have done so for a minimum of 6 months for the skilled nominated visa, or 3 months for the skilled regional visa.
Right, next question.
So, Jack, how do I prove where I reside or where I live?
Oh, just like normal residential evidence, like rental lease agreements, utility bills, a driver license, etc. This is just quite common evidence to prove residence. All right, next question. How do I show evidence for skilled employment after I have obtained my skilled assessment? What does that mean? Okay, so the evidence in support of your skilled employment or the evidence you need to submit, right? I think just in some employment contract, work reference letter, pay slips, and bank transactions including salary, etc.
Okay.
Yeah. Any other questions here? No.
No, we might have some more questions on TikTok.
Yeah, do you have any
TikTok viewers?
questions on TikTok? All right, if no further questions, and we're more than happy to answer questions if you can just book a formal consultation with us. So I think that's pretty much for today's live stream.
Okay.
Damien, could you give them an ending?
Oh, yeah, sure. So to help with your visa pathway, please book a consultation with our migration agents and lawyers. And that's pretty much all for today's topic. So if you'd like to see more videos like these, please share your comments in our comment section below, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel.
Bye bye.
Thank
Have
you.
a good weekend.